Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Malanko Hood, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Cledra Gross, who is a seasoned life and business strategist who helps high-achieving women design transformative next chapters in both their personal and professional lives. Through her work with Next Level Life and Business, she empowers women to increase their revenue while creating balance and fulfillment by overcoming overwhelm and cultivating intentional thinking. Cledra's mission centers on being a personal advocate and strategic partner for top performers, helping them consistently operate in excellence without sacrificing health or happiness. Cledra, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Pleasure to have you. Okay, if we're ready to dive in, I'm going to go straight into it. So,
Let's go.
Cledra, what I always love to do is start at the very beginning. So please take me back in time. Before you even had your company and your current business, what were you doing before? What were you up to? And then eventually, what motivated you to start a business?
Okay, great. So I like to call myself a nerd with a great personality. So my background's in chemical engineering. I have 2 degrees in chemical engineering. And so I was on a traditional corporate path. And after being in, I think it was like my 10th or 11th wedding, a lot of my friends were like, Cledra, what about your personal life? I was a typical engine nerd and just really loving my career. And so when I became intentional about getting married, like most of my goals, I met that goal too, and I met and married someone. And then there was a pivot. There was a huge pivot. And for the first time in my I won't say the first time, but I would say the most significant pivot, my marriage dissolved. There was a tragic end to a pregnancy. I went for my last ultrasound and there was no heartbeat. And around that time, my job was being dissolved and I had to relocate. And so I had one of my favorite quotes is by former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. He says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And
Mhm.
so I had been punched, and metaphorically, I wasn't in a domestic violence relationship at all, but metaphorically, I had pretty much some of the most tragic things that can happen to you to happen all at one time. And I was introduced to life coaching. My company at the time, I was still working in corporate America at the time, they brought in a life coach because a lot of us at the executive level, our personal lives were unraveling. And so they brought in a life coach, and I had never even heard of a life coach, honestly. And I hired a coach, and gosh, that's been almost 20 years ago. And I think I've had one almost ever since. And
Wow.
yeah, so that, yes, so I like to say I don't practice what I preach what I practice. So I immersed myself in the art of life coaching on a personal side for several years before I said, wow, I would really like to do this for other women. And that pivot, the next pivot that was very significant for me is I recognized that at that point I was in my 40s. I recognized a lot of women were stuck at that point after you check the boxes of the career, the promotions, the husband, the kids, the house, the cars. There could still be an emptiness that I think isn't talked about a lot. I think there's a lot about goal setting. I don't think there's a lot about what happens when you get it and who you have to become to keep it and to keep it in a fulfilled way. And the birth of my company, I do life and business because for so long I did business at work. And then, like most of us, we're told like your personal life is your personal life, or you can get EAP counseling and you can get help with your personal life. And I realized that life affects business and business affects life. And so I integrated the two. And then next level life and business was born because the women I coach, they're always thinking about the next level. And yeah, and so it's been a little over a decade since I've been doing life coaching full time. I left corporate America full time about 12 years ago. And so, yes, it's my absolute passion to help women on
Yeah.
this journey. Yes.
Okay, Clesia, I'm gonna tell you one thing.
What?
This is actually one of the strongest openings that I've ever heard. So if there is somebody who's not on their toes to listen to what's coming next, I'd be surprised. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. And also I would say that in this like materialistic day and age, what you said
Yeah.
about how we hit the goals and then what? I feel like we should all be asking that question because we always get lost for a certain period of time and we're not sure what to do with ourselves. Am I supposed
Yeah.
to start chasing something else? And then we're also disappointed with ourselves because we can't find ourselves happy because we hit that goal. It's crazy. And it's like a cycle and it's never ending. Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
glad that you brought that up. Okay, amazing. Let's switch to your current business now. What's going on? What is your offer? And help us understand, and also the listeners understand, who is your ideal customer?
Okay, great. So my business is modeled after, so I'll just do a little bit of a backtrack. I spent 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry, from making pharmaceuticals to marketing them to selling them. And so I have 20 years of dealing with physicians, okay? And so I'm very familiar with that. And so concierge medicine, like in the 90s, where physicians would see a small number of patients and they go really deep with those patients. And I love that model. And so my coaching practice is like a concierge medicine or coaching practice where I see a small number of women and we do very intense. When I say intense, I mean, I really know these women. It's one-on-one coaching, private coaching, and it's intentional. We meet every week. And I do that because a lot of the people, no, I'd say all of the women I coach, they're usually the shoulder and the ear for, it could be for a large organization. And so it's very difficult for them to be in a group to safely share what's going on with them because they don't know if people who report to them are in the group or people who know them. And so the space to allow a level of vulnerability and safety, I recognize the need for that for women who are leaders of large organizations or they're prominent figures. They needed their own safe space. And so that's my current model. And I absolutely love it because that trust factor is so rare. These women have been betrayed a lot on their way to the top of whatever it is, whether it's a division chief at a hospital or whether it's someone in a C-suite in corporate or whether it's someone in ministry and their husbands are over a very large ministry. There's a lot that comes with people who are called to make significant impact and have significant influence in this world. There's a lot that goes on privately that isn't talked about a lot. You know, who
Mhm.
helps the helpers? And
I got you.
that's really what I'm called for because I know the loneliness of being that achiever and people calling you for advice. But then when it's you and you're home alone, who do you call? And who do you call where it will not come back to bite you? So this was a need that I discovered in my over 20 years in corporate America. I think I have that gift, that face that people will tell me their life story, even in the grocery store. And that's what I love to do. That's what I absolutely love.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love the fact that even though when you look at the 5 years and the whole industry of consulting and coaching, there is this trend where people and business owners who have these offers, they always want to create a community of some sorts, right? Where you can find other people that you can relate to, which is amazing. It's a great feeling. I've been in a couple of them myself, and I know
Yeah.
there is a lot of benefit to it. But also, you said it yourself, it's quite rare to find somebody who's willing to keep it private and work with you one on one. And instead of giving you like a generic answer to everything, like seeking the true connection. So,
Exactly. The true, and that's really what lights my heart up is the true connection, like you said it, because I sit here in my office every day and I look into the eyes, the souls of these women. And regardless of how amazing they are, they're beautiful, they may be in these amazing places. But my gift is that I can see behind all of that and I can see that they're hurting. I can see that they're lonely. I can see that their needs on a very intimate level aren't being met. And I don't mean sexual intimacy, just a genuine friend who doesn't want to take a selfie with them or
yeah.
someone who can really hear their heart and can really hear their truth.
Yeah, isn't it funny that in today's day and age, these are the sort of things that we're like literally struggling to find? That's terrible.
But
But
it's
I
very
mean,
valuable.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to my next question. Let's give our listeners a bit more context into how it actually works from lead generation and slash client acquisition standpoint. So what it is that you do to actually acquire new clients.
Okay, so there's several things that I'd say the main lead generation is on LinkedIn. So I have an entire system of connecting with women who their titles on LinkedIn would, whether a physician, an attorney, C-suite executive, VP, SVP, COO, those titles. So typically I connect with those women and then they will see a post that I consider to be value added and relatable for where they are in their life. So that's one. I also guest podcast a lot, like I'm doing now. I'm thankful to do that. Oftentimes, people will hear me on someone else's podcast and they'll come to me. From time to time, I will guest coach in other communities. For almost 2 years, did that in a community of women physicians only. And that was so rewarding. And so that has been a great lead generation source as well. And now I've just recently revamped my YouTube. I want to eventually get into podcasting. I know you were going to talk about the future, but yeah, that's pretty much the lead generation. I think that was that your question? Did I answer it
Yeah,
completely?
absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So at this point, it's mainly organic outreach, but also word of
Absolutely.
mouth and getting some referrals.
That's it. That's it.
Gotcha.
Exactly
Okay.
right.
And I got a question. When it comes to sales, do you have your team or is it like one woman show and you're taking care of everything?
Right now, I am the one woman show. I was top ranked as a pharmaceutical sales rep. So I think that's I think my gift is also my burden because it's like giving the reins over to allow other people to help me with that. But I'm very comfortable with sales. I love sales. I see it as service and I absolutely love it.
It is. It
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
is.
Oh, it
Awesome.
absolutely is. It's helping people get what they want. That's the way I look at
Exactly.
it. Right.
Exactly. If you can take somebody, hold their hand, and actually connect them with what they need, yeah,
Exactly.
you're definitely doing them a service.
And I love it.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Okay, Cledra, let's talk about the future. So,
Okay.
if you think about, let's say, the next 6 to 12 months,
Mhm.
what is the vision? What are some of the goals, targets, revenue, milestones that you set for yourself? Whatever comes to mind.
Sure. So my model was built on a 20-hour work week, $250,000, and I wanted to scale to a 500,000, but only work 20 hours. So it's very important to me that I didn't scale the hours with the money. Because again, it's what I coach is that you have a life that goes with this amazing business that you have. And so what I'm doing now that I have mastered this part, multiple six figures of 20 hours, is to expand that now to small cohorts. I don't see myself ever with massive groups, at least not in the next 6 to 12 months. But I do want to start smaller, maybe mini minds, not masterminds, where they're small intensives with maybe 5 women, 7 women, so that they can connect with each other to now take this 500,000 to 1 million, but again, 20 hours a week. That's the goal. Yes.
Yeah, you want to keep being sane. That's that.
Exactly. Exactly. And I want to model what I teach that the 40-hour work week, I think this is where my engineering mindset comes in. I challenge everything. Like, why do we do that? Why are we still doing that? Why do we even think that way?
Yeah. No, let's
Still
be honest
relevant.
with ourselves. I
Right.
would say that the majority of the high-performing women that actually end up working with you, the question of work-life balance is probably one of the biggest questions that they might have.
The
So,
best. And
there
they
you
don't
go.
have a problem working hard.
Yeah,
It's a lot of them have stayed in school so long is, now how do I put it all together? No one teaches us that. They only teach us how to do it when it falls apart. Like when I went through a divorce, I'm like, why are we reacting to life and we don't have more of a proactive approach?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know what? In the last few years, there is this stigma that is growing about like how you need to hustle and you need to grind it out, but there is nobody who's going to tell you what to do once you actually go onto that journey.
Once you get
Like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And you start doing that, you can do it for a couple of months, then you have a huge burnout that you have no idea how to come back from, and
Exactly.
you're done.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I have periods where I sprint in my business and it's a lot more than 20 hours. Don't get me wrong. It's in, they're intentional sprints, though. It's not like a reactive approach to
Absolutely.
business.
I feel
Mhm.
like the ability to have control over that is what matters.
Exactly. Controlled sprints. That's a much better way to say it. Yes.
I get you. I'm enjoying this conversation.
You get me.
Okay, beautiful. Awesome. Cledra, I got one more question, business related, but over the past few years, what would you say is one piece of technology that actually made your life easier? Is there some tool or something like that you would maybe recommend to others?
One piece of technology. Gosh, if I had to just choose one, it would be like Slack. I'm a one person front facing, but I do have back office to two people. And so I think just being able to have things in one place helps, especially if you want to run a real lean business. I found that to be a helpful tool for us because my
Absolutely.
pace is fast. It's when I am working, I'm pretty intense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Over communicating and staying organized. It's important.
Staying
100%.
organized, and I'm very organized. And I would say, and this isn't a tech tool, but I'm a firm believer in planning in advance. Yes.
Absolutely.
hmm
Absolutely.
hmm
Okay, I promise no trick question, but we're gonna do a
Okay.
little bit of a lightning round. And this is actually one of my favorite questions ever. But
Okay.
if you could magically snap your fingers and sit across the table from yourself, but yourself maybe 10 or 15 years ago, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
10 or 15 years ago, sitting across from myself, that would have been the beginning of leaving corporate. The biggest piece of advice I would give is that it's normal for this to be nonlinear. I was so used to you get the check every 2 weeks and it's the same amount, and entrepreneurship is up and down, and that's normal. And that the capacity to tolerate the ups and downs of entrepreneurship is a skill to develop, and that nothing's gone wrong when you don't know how to do that in the beginning. That's what I would
Mm,
really say. Nothing's gone wrong.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Awesome. Yeah, Cledra, there was a lot of things that we could be talking about for about like good 4 or 5 hours. I'm pretty sure of that. So I appreciate your time, but I feel like this wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. So a big thank you to Cledra for taking the time and sharing your journey and the work that you're doing to shape the future of your business. And if somebody wanted to reach out, connect with you, perhaps work with you even, what is the best way to go about it?
The best way is my website, and it's cledra.com. It's CLEDRA.com, and you'll see schedule a consultation, and I'd love to talk to you.
Simple as that. Okay, one
Simple,
more time,
simple.
Cledra.com, Cledra.com.
That's it.
Women, go ahead. Get your session, book the call, and figure out if Cledra can help you out. Now, to our
Absolutely.
listeners, if today's conversation inspired you the same way it inspired me, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And if you're a business owner, more specifically a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, and you want to scale your business and enhance your marketing and sales efforts, definitely visit closers.io and get in touch with our team so that you can discover how exactly we went from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, just keep on climbing, and I'll see you on the next one.